started, and again, I apologize that the agendas didn't go out. I just want to thank everyone in these crazy times for making the effort to get on and join us this afternoon. The agendas, again, didn't go out. I started off just, again, giving you some updates, at least for the Section 8 here in Utica, the FSS program that I coordinate here. We're fortunate enough to maintain our numbers. I always try to keep the active participants at 50 and then some, or at least close enough. So at the time that I did some statistics from January 1 till June 30th, our average number of participants was 49. We had one participant graduate, 2 exited due to the fact that they poured it out to a different area. Out of the 49, the average number of participants that do have, if everybody recalls how we take money and put it in this escrow account, that incentive program. I have 28 participants that currently have a balance in their escrow account. There's only 9, which is good, participants currently, well, at least between January 1 and June 30th, that were on public assistance, which is pretty decent, seeing that goal is for them to move off of PA. The average households average number of households with earned income was 25. 13 participants working on a part-time basis and 12 working on a full-time basis. So I don't know if Sarah, if you have any, maybe can just brief maybe some idea of what your numbers look like.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I have, excuse me, we have 4 people on our program. 1 was terminated recently. I have 1 that is getting ready to graduate out of the 4 that we have on there. And all of them have escrow balances right now. We wanted to bring up our numbers this year, but due to COVID, that just was not possible. So me and my assistant program manager are now looking into what we can start doing for next year. We just got the okay to start introducing the FSS program to our PBV vouchers that we have at Kennedy Plaza and Park Drive Manor in Rome. So that's where we're going to try to focus on. So we're hoping that so we're hoping that we can get at least half of the people that we have. We have 50 at Kennedy and 25 at Park Drive Manor. So we're hoping we can get 25 and 14 if possible. So that'll bump us up pretty good. But right now with just regular HCV vouchers, we just have 0 interest in the program. So we're stuck.
So do you have any incline why the interest is so low? Just lack of motivation, you think?
I think that for our Herkimer County program, it's most of the people that are on our 90% of the people on our program are elderly. And
yeah, I was aware of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then for our Oneida County vouchers, honestly, I don't know. I have sent out letters probably every 2 to 3 months to try to get people interested. We've made phone calls to people. We tell them what the program is, and they just don't want to do it. So, and we can't force anybody, as you know. I mean, and
sure.
we try to make it sound as appealing as possible, and I wanted to try. I was hoping that the one lady that I have that's graduating, she's actually getting ready to look into purchasing a home. And she has an $8,000 escrow balance, and she's going to try to put that down on a house. I'm hoping that she'll actually come in and maybe even help me try to recruit people to explain like what the program does. So I know she would probably be willing to do it, but that's really what it comes down to, is just people are just not interested, and it's tough.
Yeah.
But I think I interest with the people that are in our project-based units. A lot of the families, especially the ones living in Kennedy Plaza, are really struggling right now. So we take them on like emergency basis to move in is like their last resort. So a lot of them don't have a high income, or we get a lot of homeless references over there. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can get a bunch of people when they move in.
Okay. When you do your briefings, of course, we haven't had any group briefings. I mean, these are challenging times. Just question, because I know that when we were doing group briefings, I would attend the briefing and just take the floor for a few minutes to explain the FSS program, because it's always been in their best interest to grab them when they first come on Section 8, even if you could, you know what I mean?
We do that.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with FUPS, with the Family Unification Program, because a lot of times those individuals are down and out, so it's
trying to get their children back, so they really want to elevate themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was what I did, just we'll move on to the next thing on the agenda was and would love to hear from the folks that are here at this meeting, is just how you navigated your way the past 6 months or whatever with the COVID. I know for us, we eventually started meeting people outdoors. I was, able to do that and introduce, talk with people, kind of had that initial interview. We were lucky.
Has joined the meeting.
Yeah, that the being able to meet them outside, the weather cooperated. Those were the things that I did creatively, was moved to more of a phone interview platform to get them on board, asking like the initial assessment questions initially over the phone, or I met individuals outdoors. But I'm happy to report that we sustained the numbers. If anything, we gained a couple new participants to date today. And then I also sent a service questionnaire during these crazy times, and even within that questionnaire asked, if they had any immediate needs, and then would therefore make the necessary referrals to you folks, other folks in the community. So if anyone would like to share the changes to their program designs, their means of outreach, through this pandemic, that I think that would be helpful to all of us. Does anybody want to give us some updates and maybe share how the Home Ownership Center, for instance, you guys have been very creative.
As of right now, we've updated a couple of things. As of right now, we are currently, because of the COVID situation, we're currently not accepting customers coming in to the building. However, we have newly installed an intercom system. People are able to come in, the customers are able to come into the front foyer. We have our applications for the new program, the rental relief program. So we have applications right out the door, right outside. So as soon as they walk in the first door, they can go grab those right on the right-hand side. We do have the intercom system. So if they need to talk to one of us, they can go ahead and talk to us right over the intercom system. And if it's something that maybe we have to, go and help them out, and let's say they're unable to make copies to give us the supporting documentation they need for their applications, then, we'll, mask up and do our thing, and we'll go meet them out in the foyer. We'll grab their stuff, we'll make copies of their information, and we'll go ahead and give it back to them. We've been doing a lot over the phone, a lot of explaining. We try to make our application as easy to follow as possible. It does have a checklist, and any information that they don't understand, they're more than able to contact us either way. We do try to make it as comfortable and as easy as possible. If someone does particularly need like a sit-down appointment with one of us, we're able to make that appointment. We just have to make sure that we schedule, put it in there, and we are still willing to meet with them on a one-on-one basis.
Okay, so one-on-one with an appointment. Okay.
Yep. Also, we've gone a lot, just probably like a lot of other people and organizations. We've gone a lot to the websites, our particular website and our Facebook page. We are our administrative assistant, Tara, she updates the lead postings and updates the information often. And we do have a constant contact that goes out monthly. And so we try to use all those platforms that we have available to us at this time to go ahead and get the message out there.
Okay, question for you, because I know that typically your home ownership classes, the home buyers education class,
yes,
goes from January to January. So with your new schedule, is that also going to be all
as of right now? We are doing them online. We're doing them all online. So everybody's taking the money management course. That's an online course. Okay. And then when it comes to our financial coaching that they have to do, he's basically doing them right over the phone.
Okay, so partially online with that home buyers class and then partially phone interview?
And the financial coaching piece gets done right over the phone. Okay. And remember, they're able to create their Compass account and schedule all those appointments right there on our website.
Okay. Anything else? What about, is there any newer grants that we should be made aware of?
Well, as of right now, I mean, we still have our Utica lead program. So we are still doing that. We've already actually completed, I want to say, a house or two already under the lead program. So that is on its way. We're getting the word out there still. The word of mouth is starting to happen where everybody's starting to communicate that. And unfortunately, due to the COVID situation, a lot of our outreach has kind of come down to a minimum. We have sent out information. We dropped off some flyers and some stuff at, what is it called, over there at Reverend's Gates when they were handing out the food and stuff like that. So we dropped some information off there. We've also dropped off some information at the public market. So we had some flyers and some information over there to go ahead and share that as well. We also do have now the emergency rental assistance program. I don't know if you've heard the emergency rental relief program, and the mortgage relief program we have for the city of Utica. The word of mouth is getting around. There's a lot of people who are contacting us in regards to that rental relief program. Unfortunately, one of the stipulations with the rental relief program is that we can't help those who are getting a housing subsidy. So, for example, like Section 8, unfortunately, we're not able to help them out, but we have been able to help out quite a few people, and people are still rolling in. If they're able to show us that they have a COVID hardship and they can provide us the supporting documentation. I know a lot of people, unfortunately, they find it a lot. It's a lot of stuff that they have to get together, but it is a case-by-case basis. It depends on, what the situation is. It depends on what information we're going to need, along with the basic information. And then we get a hold of the landlords, and once all that gets through, the landlord is paid directly.
Nice.
Yeah, just to let you know, if you have anyone that comes in that's on Section 8, or we do adjustments, so they just need to let us know that they lost their job or whatever, and we'll adjust the rent, we'll go back, a couple of months, whatever. So they just need to get in contact with us, refer them back to us or refer them back to the agency.
Definitely.
I mean, even, we've done a lot of adjustments between March, April, May, June, and some of our clients are going back to work now. You, on your notes here, you've done.
From my personal program, I had probably did like 10 or more moved to unemployment when the COVID started. But since this was a while ago, I've had 5 or more return back to work. But I'm still seeing with some of my participants a reluctancy to go back to work because of the barrier of the childcare.
Right. A lot of the situations, we have a lot of customers who come in because of that.
Yeah.
Because school now they're teaching from home. There's no one there at home. They need a parent or someone there. So it's causing a little bit of
that is a barrier. It is a barrier. It is something that's causing a lot of people to hesitate right now. I mean, I have a 16-year-old that's home and I don't know if she's in her classes. I don't know if she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. I have to kind of tell her, hey, it's your future. You got to be responsible for what you want to do, and I don't know what else to do. So I can't imagine those who have younger children, who have to manage how to help them out with their schoolwork, be basically their at-home teacher, and at the same time possibly have a job that would work with them and help them and allow them to work from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have one client.
Jerry, since they mentioned childcare, I'd like to be able to chime in as soon as I can, because I will need to exit a little early.
I was just going to ask you that. Yes, please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, so hello, everyone. Some faces I recognize, some faces I can't see. But anyways, I'm Dieter Harvey, and I am the Esprit administrator with the United Way of the Mohawk Valley. Esprit stands for the Empire State Poverty Reduction Initiative. It's a state initiative that's housed right here in the city of Utica. I shouldn't say for totally, but it's housed in Utica because of our high poverty rate. So state initiative, anti-poverty initiative, 16 Esprit cities across New York State. Utica is one. The project that our community chose that they thought the need that needed to be addressed the most was childcare. It actually connected to every single issue that they were having. So not just childcare in the traditional sense. What they were asking for was childcare in non-traditional hours. We don't have a place to take, our children, if I'm working Walmart, healthcare, EMT, those odd hours where parents need the support early in the morning. That was lacking in our community. So the caveat was we want to have a 24/7 childcare center. Well, fast forward, here we are. After a lot of planning and a heck of a lot of construction, we are housed at 309 Genesee Street, which you probably know as the sales building. Mm-hmm. If you know of the Thea Bowman program, right next door to the library and across from the museum. So Academics First Child Care Center is there. We are on the ground level. It's state of the art. A lot of time, a lot of work, infrastructure work went into the building, getting it ready. We service infants up to school age. As you know, with COVID, one of the things that we are really challenged with, Monty just talked about, is this remote learning. Everyone is in flux. And many of our child care centers said that, we're not touching it. We're not staffed for it. We're not, teachers in that regard. It's a very daunting thing. But with Academics First, we're a brand new center, actually ramping up to be 24/7. When it's all said and done, when we have the full shifts, we're talking about 111 children, opening at 6 a.m, closing at midnight, opening again. We are definitely looking to hire. That's the other piece of this equation. If we're going to have 24-hour care, we need people who are willing to work in those odd hours, right? We're looking. If you know anything about the state of New York, Office of Children and Family Services, child care is highly regulated. So there's a lot of education requirements for some of those positions, but there's always a track to get people in and move people up. One of the caveats is, of course, you're protecting and working with our children. In terms of a criminal record, everything doesn't fly. I always tell people, I don't care what you got in your past. Let OCFS make that decision.
That's right.
Not necessarily you. So apply. But it's extensive. And then they have to go through the clearance, which means, like, I just recently offered 6 people, employment opportunities. I'm going to be onboarding them all. But those individuals, until they're cleared, that final clearing process, I can't leave them alone with the children. Yep. So it's a staging and a stepping.
It is a challenge.
Yeah, it is. But we are getting there. We're open right now from 6 to 6. We do have a lot of people who are interested. They are applying online, but we have to have our staff-child ratios, toe to toe. So employment for us is the biggest thing.
Okay.
And so we are We are ramping up fast, and we're serving the number of children that we are adequately staffed to serve. But there are so many more who are waiting. We just need to get staff on board. So if you know of someone who is interested in childcare, please send them my way. I'll make sure that Jerry has my info.
Yeah.
She can send that out to everyone directly. I think it's an amazing opportunity. So what's our end goal? We want to help parents who, with their employment retention and employment record. So for example, if I work, at Walmart and the bus isn't running and I need to catch the bus at such and such a time, but I didn't have anywhere to take my child and I'm always late, will having this childcare prevent Deetra from being late all the time? Right. Will having this childcare help Deetra to keep that job, have such a good track record that they're going to look at me in terms of a promotion? Will having childcare allow Deetra to go to college, or take that course that she needs to finish out her education? What we're looking for is workforce and education. We're looking to change the trajectory of families in those two key areas. So with this project, go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but I feel this is a really important question, just knowing, my background being in the same profession for 30 years. Are you accepting children on a part-time basis, Deidre, or is it just a full-time basis?
No, we're very creative. The thing about Academics First is we are there to meet the demand of the community to the best of our ability. Remember, this is a business, so we can't go under, right? But in childcare, you're not going to get rich. But right now we have people who I only need 2 days. I only need, 4 hours. So we're looking, we're mixing and matching. And it's working well so far. And we are doing the remote learning. So actually Academics First has a really good track record of incorporating remote learning into the childcare setting. We're getting a lot of questions about that.
For your school
age. A lot of people, who need it. So you walk into the room and it's a little bit different because you have the little, kindergartner and you have the older child and they're sitting there in front of their little laptops with their, with the teacher and, it's very different.
It's a different world, but that's great.
Happening. It's happening. Who are interested in childcare, I would say definitely have them, call, get on the list. I am doing tours of the center for anyone who wants to just come and take a tour of the center. Put your eyes on it. Great. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link that you can set that up. Okay. And it has a little video of the center, so you'll be able to see it either way.
So your recommendation then would be for us to refer people to the website, I would imagine, right?
Yes, that's the easiest way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the easiest way, to the website. And Jerry, I'll make sure that I get all the information to you. You can send it out, to our colleagues here. And so that's where we are. Child care is, and is a great need. We all know it. Our infant room filled up immediately. We only have 8 slots for the infant room. But we're already seeing, where the gaps are, and already looking to change our model in terms of, so where's the greatest population of children that need the service? So we're already looking at that. So we're very agile, but with the agility is, that the maintenance of the professional service delivery to our families and to our children. So.
Okay. Thank you. That's a lot of information. I really appreciate it.
Great information.
Yeah. And I know it'll be helpful to me, even for like you say, even for the employment piece for individuals that may be interested, and that's where your need lies too. So
right.
Does anyone else want to share what they're doing in the midst of this COVID-19 and just in general, some updates that's going on in their agencies?
I'm happy to talk about legal services.
Go for it.
Okay. So hi, everyone. It's Melanie from Legal Services. We've been open the whole time. We always have an online intake. I don't know how many people realize we can just do an intake online. If you go to Legal Services of Central New York, we're .org. In the top right corner, there's a Get Help button. And we also allow people to call in, which is probably the easiest way to get a hold of us now. The Utica office number is 315-793-5666. 7108. Someone could also call the helpline if they wanted. That number is 1-877-777-6152. And just so I can put it out there, if anyone's looking for me directly, I can give you all my phone number. My number is 315-793-7096. We've been doing a lot of things online. Because the courts use Teams, we've been using Teams, but we can just send someone a Teams link if we want to do that. We are, occasionally if someone has to come in and sign papers, we'll have them do it at the office, but we're really trying not to have people come there yet. The update I really wanted to give is kind of the status of evictions, because I think that's relevant to this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, there are a couple of different moratoriums happening, but they're only dealing with COVID-related issues. So a person can be evicted in a holdover proceeding or lease violation or anything like that. Those are starting to happen now. I'm just expecting, as the way the papers make their way through court, we're going to really start to see them come November. But someone should not be evicted if they're having COVID-related financial hardship. If someone is trying to use the CDC moratorium, there is a form that someone could find on the CDC's website. You don't have to use that form. And I do caution everyone, if they're going to use that form, someone is filling it out under penalty of perjury. So they're almost better off making their own form if they're not sure about one of the things in the form. But if someone's trying to access that moratorium, they can give their landlord a form basically saying they're having a COVID-related hardship, and that should, in theory, prevent the landlord from even filing. If someone is trying to use the state moratorium, essentially what would happen is the landlord can take them to court, and then they would have to, it's an affirmative defense, essentially, that they would say, listen, I have a COVID-related hardship, that's why the rent hasn't been paid, and then they would have to be able to demonstrate to the court. And there were some factors the court would look into about what that hardship is. So something like, hours were cut, an illness that the person had to stop working, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions about that?
Is this for are they doing evictions for pre-COVID?
Yes. So if someone had an eviction case like back in March, those can go forward. And it kind of depends on where someone was in the process. If someone had filed but they hadn't been to court, honestly, I think it's smarter to just start over at this point because it's been so long.
Okay.
If someone already had a warrant of eviction, what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to go back to court for like what's essentially a report date, and the judge is supposed to inquire about whether there was a COVID-related issue. And if there wasn't any specific COVID-related issue, then the warrant can be executed.
Okay.
A lot of those I'm seeing someone has already moved out because it's been like 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how many of those we're going to really see at this point. But I mean, it could be quite a few because it's obviously hard to find an apartment when you can't really go see the apartment because of COVID.
Right.
We had some issues with the Section 8. Anyone who had their hours cut or lost their job, we did interim immediately on everyone, But a few of our clients whose hours were not affected by the COVID refused to pay rent. What can they do? I know, they have to have their rent someplace and they would be willing to pay the landlord, but I'm just afraid we're going to end up with a lot of people going to court and ended up with some homeless families.
Yes, I'm extremely concerned about that also. So it's interesting because I keep hearing from like people that people just decided not to pay their rent, and that's not really what I'm seeing, which is really interesting to me. So I guess the people that just decide not to pay aren't the ones that are calling my office, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on if they have the rent money or not. If they have the rent money, and even if they're taken to court, they're in decent shape still. If they don't have, at this point, it is an affirmative defense. So if a person doesn't have the rent and didn't have a COVID-related hardship, I think they're going to have a hard time. I haven't been in front of the judges yet to know, if they're looking at these kind of immediately or if they're kind of going to side more with the landlords and say you've had long enough. Just based on this area, I expect people to feel some more empathy for the landlords, unfortunately, at this point.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that we're going to have a lot of families. And if you have anyone that's on Section 8, or tell them to call us, and we will do the adjustment, whatever they need. But the families that are just their income wasn't affected, and and I think these landlords are already calling to start the eviction process. I mean, I feel bad. I don't want to withdraw anyone from the program because, court order eviction is a withdrawal, refusal to pay rent, and I don't want these families to end up homeless. So we're really trying to work with everyone. So if you do get any of our clients, or let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've seen any Section 8 issues yet. One of the things I love about working with you guys is I know you do work with people.
Yeah.
So to me, anytime anyone has a Section 8, anything going on, I'm like, oh, good, because that's usually fixable. I don't think I've seen any Section 8 issues come through my office yet.
Oh, that's good news.
That's good.
But who knows? I'm out this week, and then, like I said, next week is when I'm expecting kind of more of a ramp up.
Okay.
So who knows? But I do expect it to just based on the eviction time frame at this point, a person would have to get some sort of prerequisite notice. So, if someone's alleging that payment, it's a 14-day notice. If someone's alleging like a holdover or something like that, it's at least a 30-day notice. And then the person would have to get court papers between 10 and 15 days of whatever court is. So I'm expecting, come November, to start to see the court papers.
Okay, yeah.
But I really don't know how quickly landlords are going to want to move. How quickly the bar, the lawyers doing these types of evictions are going to move. But once it starts, I think it's going to be not good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melanie. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do just want to highlight we do a whole bunch of other stuff. I know that's the big one right now. But if people are having unemployment, public benefits, anything that's a civil issue, it's worth giving my office a call and trying to get at least some advice.
Okay, good to know that.
Right now. That's why I always highlight that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
They can call. Okay. Honestly, even though you don't have the agenda, it was a very brief agenda because we hadn't really met in so long, that basically I just wanted to get caught up on the creative things that we've been doing during this, crazy time. And then if anybody had any thoughts on how we move forward, I know we're all ears here. I just kind of left the rest of this an open agenda. So please feel free to share.
I left some information in the chat, link about the project, and there's a link in the video in there to the Academics First and my contact information.
Thank you, Deidre. We appreciate it. Awesome.
I know with the Section 8, our program, the government gave us a number of waivers. So our inspections were delayed. They're back on track now. If we had trouble getting interim adjustments done or recertifications done, we worked with our clients. We do have waivers. The FSS, anyone who lost their job, our hours were cut because of the COVID, they gave us extensions on the contract. So we put that waiver in place. So anyone who's coming on their last few months of the FSS contract and already had a maybe 1 year or not
contract,
extension, we're able to extend it out to the end of the year to hopefully they can go back to work and be able to collect their FSS escrow if they have any and not be off the program and not get that escrow because they're not working full time.
Right. I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but that's a good point.
I noticed that. So I can put it.
No, that's a great point because that was a waiver. So just to clarify that even with a few more details, if somebody has money, a balance in their escrow account and their contract date is expired, if they weren't working at that given date, they would not be full-time. They would not be granted that award. So that was a great, that was between HUD and that waiver was very helpful to some people, that extension. Mm-hmm. Is that clear to everybody? Yeah, right? Does anybody have any questions for me or Chris? I know everybody's so quiet. Any other creative things that we've done? Sarah, did you have anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. If there are any relevant written, like I appreciate Deidre sending us the link and that information, but I will repeat that to everyone else too. I think just updating resources and programs, because I know that I got caught in that one time. I made a referral to a program that no longer had funding. So I think that for me, that's one of the reasons why I like to periodically meet and get caught up on updates on different programs and resources, because I really don't like to make a referral to someone when there's no more funding for maybe something I'm referring them to. You know what I'm saying? So if you could send us any information that is more updated, whether it's a brochure, a link, to myself or Sarah for that matter, that would be greatly appreciated.
I guess it would probably be good to mention, because we've been getting a lot of phone calls, even in the midst of all this craziness. We've been getting a lot of phone calls about people who are interested in buying their first home. The only program that we have available here is the West Utica Down Payment Assistance Program.
That's right.
The Home Buyer's Dream Program is done for this year. Hopefully, they renew it next year. But as of right now, the only down payment assistance program we have available is for specifically the West Utica area. They can just go right to our website. They can Google Home Ownership Center, and they'll show you a map of the area with the boundaries and everything. What the good thing that is with the West Utica Down Payment Assistance Program is that not only are we giving them the assistance with the down payment portion, but we're also giving them approximately, I want to say it's $20,000 towards rehabilitating the home. So, I mean, we're combining those two sources. So we're not only helping them with one, but once they do purchase the home, then we are willing to go ahead and try to do some rehabilitation work on the home as well.
Oh, good to know. Thank you. All right. Anything else? So, what am I thinking? Oh, yeah. How about we regroup in December? Does that sound doable for folks? Because I feel like we're trying to make just catch up a little bit. Took us a while to get this going, just to kind of navigate the direction we were moving in. But are Tuesdays the same time? Tuesdays are a good day for folks, or does anyone have a different suggestion which might work better?
I want to say as long as it's earlier in December, the first few weeks, I think then we probably could do that, or Kristen could probably do that. She's unfortunately not here, so she had to have surgery, so she's not here. I had to cover for her. But I want to say that in the beginning of December would be the best, because we usually have a couple of weeks off around the holidays. So I don't want you to schedule something that's going to interfere with, that schedule, but the time and the day, Tuesdays, is usually, I believe, good for her too. So,
okay.
If we can't get in December, we'll try January.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'm actually going to say the same thing. Early December is better, because by the end of December, people are off, but there were so many things scheduled further into December. It's just crazy.
Okay. And then too, if anybody hears of anything, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me on a personal note. Like, nobody wants to talk about the holidays with COVID. Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's just all weird. But if anybody has any resources for people, in relevance to the holidays, whether it be a food, I'm finding a lot of, often do intakes of pour-ins, which are also good, Sarah. For me, that's worked out well, because then I'll try to get them on FSS. New admissions, porting in from a different area. And I often see a real struggle between, like, someone's coming from a different state, so now their food stamps they're waiting on food stamps, they're waiting on this. In the meantime, they don't have anything to eat. Like, I see immediate needs in that transitional period. So, let's just keep one another in the loop on maybe some resources for folks that unfortunately are, really struggling during these times.
Absolutely.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you
and if
so
people are
much,
having food
ladies.
stamps issues, give my office a call.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
If people are having issues with food stamps, they should give my office a call. That's something that we definitely work with people on.
Okay, will do. Good to know that. Thank you, Melanie.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Anyone else? All right, have a great
No.
week.
You as
Thanks.
well.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care, everyone.
Appreciate you taking the time to get together. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Sarah
everyone.
Bowers.
Has left the meeting. A